So intermittent fasting means you're condensing your eating window. So some people, there's debate on it if that means you have to be just like 15 hours of non-eating, or if that means you have to be 24 hours of non-eating. I'm just going to go with like what I used to do, which was like a 16-8. So you would not eat for 16 hours, and then for 8 hours of the day, you would eat it during that eating window. Now, I think with intermittent fasting, some of the benefits are that you may have more mental clarity, because if your body is constantly digesting food, every time we eat, our blood from our brain has to go into our digestive tract to help us with digestion. And so people, you eat, you're like, oh, I'm feeling a little bit tired. So I think one of the benefits to intermittent fasting is having more brain clarity and cognition and mental clarity overall when you're not eating. However, again, I think that a lot of times people also would associate intermittent fasting with being a great weight loss tool. And it can be, but the reason why intermittent fasting is so great for weight loss is because naturally, when you constrict your eating window, you tend to naturally undereat. So then people lose weight and they're like, oh, it was intermittent fasting, when it was really like calorie restriction. So you don't have to do intermittent fasting to lose weight. But if for some people, they would rather not have to think about, okay, today I'm going to eat all day long, I'm just going to eat a little bit less all day long. Instead, they would rather just say, I'm only going to eat during this condensed eating window, and naturally I will therefore eat less. And then with a ketogenic diet, technically a ketogenic diet is a low, well, it's a pretty low to no carb diet with moderate protein. Oh, I guess I didn't like that one. I don't know, but it's moderate protein and high fat. So I think sometimes that gets confused with people can become more confused because they think of like a carnivore diet as being a keto diet, and it can be a ketogenic diet. But if someone's eating just chicken breast has no carbs, but it's super high protein and very low fat. You might not be in a ketogenic state because your protein can also spike your insulin. So then you're not in that same ketogenic state. Now, I'm pretty sure most people who are eating like a carnivore diet, they would be in a ketogenic state. But usually a true ketogenic state is you are doing high fat, moderate protein.
Right. But so, okay, you said something interesting about intermittent fasting, that yes, surely most people will eat in a caloric deficit to lose weight in this sense. But typically when you're doing intermittent fasting, you also lower your insulin, right? Because you don't eat as many meals as frequently, which does help weight loss, right?
Yes. However, if someone in their condensed eating window is only eating processed foods, let's say they're eating lots of donuts and chips and candy in that condensed eating window, they're going to have a huge insulin spike.
Sure.
Versus if they were to eat 6 times a day spread throughout and they only ate steak, sure, their insulin's going to spike 6 times, but it's going to spike 6 times a lot less. You're going to improve your insulin a lot more than doing like a condensed eating window of a lot of carbs and sugar. Right. So I think it just depends. For most people, they're eating a standard American diet. So if they were to then constrict their eating window and continue to eat a standard American diet, that would improve their insulin sensitivity. That would help with their weight loss. But if they don't want to intermittent fast, then instead they could just take their standard American diet and just eat more low carb. And that can also improve their insulin sensitivity.
Right. But when in your eating window, if you eat, let's say 2,000 calories of processed food versus eating 2,000 calories of a ketogenic diet, you would still lose more weight from the ketogenic diet because your insulin is lower, correct? Even though you eat the same amount of calories.
Yes, exactly.
Because
so that's whether you're intermittent fasted or not, though, right? Because you can be intermittent fasted eating junk, or you can be ketogenic and not intermittent fasted, and you're going to see better insulin sensitivity.
Okay. Makes sense.